Hey everyone, ZSlaveDre here. Today I'll be going over my impressions for the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. I actually never played Final Fantasy VII when it released, and only played it for the first time last year, so I have a somewhat neutral view towards the game instead of looking at it through nostalgia-tinted glasses. The demo takes you through the now famous opening sequence where Cloud and friends blow up a Mako reactor. I finished the demo in about 52 minutes, which seems to be pretty average, and I want to say I am really impressed that Square released a demo, something that is actually quite rare nowadays. I really wish more companies would put out demos because a lot of stores will not take returns, so if you end up not liking a game, you're out of $60, if not more, if you bought a special edition. So, first things first, the game is beautiful. Personally, graphics are the least important part of a game for me, but that doesn't mean I don't prefer the game to look gorgeous. While the game is sadly running at 30 FPS, which is really unacceptable for an action game, I only noticed one drop in frames, otherwise it appeared to be running at a very stable frame rate. Now, I'm sure they polished this opening sequence more than any other spot in the game because of the demo, but still, it's amazing that it can look that good and not drop frames. I personally would prefer a 1080p 60 FPS option, but we will have to wait for a PC or PS5 release for that, unfortunately. Square has updated the combat from turn-based, although there is a classic combat option, to a more action skill-based combat system that felt almost identical to Dragon Quest Heroes, in most ways other than the way skills are used. The combat felt stiff, and while I'm sure over time you can get used to it, overall, it was a pretty big disappointment. I was really hoping God of War 2018 would set a precedent for smooth third-person combat, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like any other studio is willing to put the work in to make a combat system that can rival Sony Santa Monica's. You can now block and dodge, and use select skills and spells from a list using the X button once you've built up the ATB gauge. The ATB gauge is built up by spamming attacks using the square button, and make combat feel kind of one-dimensional and quite boring, spamming the same button over and over just to build up the gauge. I am glad you can use skills, but they implemented them in the most boring way possible. It's definitely an improvement over Final Fantasy 15, but only a minor one. You get to play as Cloud and Garrett, and both characters have a different moveset. Maybe, hopefully, the other characters will as well, which could add some variety to the gameplay. Cloud can transform his sword into two different modes. One is a smaller sword that has quick attacks, the other is a bulky sword that delivers slower but more powerful blows. Garrett, on the other hand, can build up a meter that can do an overcharge blast from his hand cannon. I also had major issues with the camera, and I have no idea how a developer can have so many problems implementing a camera in 2020. Other game companies have figured it out years ago, and it's going to be very frustrating to play at certain points in the game. At one time, no matter where I positioned my character, I couldn't see a turret that was shooting at me, and subsequently could not dodge the shots from it. Hopefully with feedback from the demo, Square can maybe fix some areas by the time of release, but we'll have to see. While the combat disappointed, the voice acting certainly did not. I was actually shocked at the quality of the voice acting, and am quite glad they took the time to choose the right actors for the job, considering you'll be spending well over 100 hours with them once all three parts of the game are released. And while we are talking about this only being a third of the game, well, it's only a third of the game. Nothing sums up the gaming industry better than comparing the same game in 2020 to its original release 2 decades ago. Now we get a third of the experience for full price. While Square has said they will be adding in more content to make it a full game, I'm very skeptical of how good the quality will be for that additional content. Personally, I'll be waiting till I can purchase the full game for a reasonable price before I buy it. And again, I do want to commend Square on releasing the demo. I now know what the game will be like and can make an informed decision on whether or not I want to purchase it. Because regardless of quality, the game will receive glowing reviews because of nostalgia, and if I had purchased it, I would have felt pretty ripped off. For those that do purchase the game, I do hope you enjoy it, and I'm pretty sure many will because of nostalgia. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe for more gaming reviews and insight, and I'll see you in the next video.